Hello and welcome everybody. Before I begin, this is not financial or trading advice. Please do your own research, your own due diligence, and uh, you know you'll make decisions for yourself. So if you make or lose money, you can give yourself the credit for that. I just wanted to give my thoughts on what I think some different possibilities are. At this time, it's very hard for me to have a strong bias. I want to believe that this is the low end for Bitcoin here. And the reason I want to believe that is because so many times in Bitcoin's history, when it bottoms, okay, it has a first move to the upside and it retraces. It's almost exactly to the T right between midpoint between the point 0.5 and 0.618. I know people were saying, oh, it's going to hit 38,317, but to me, this is always the spot. It bounces. It's like they're front running this 618 fib retracement, and there's typically always another level we could look at here. Like we could look at this potential support, right, over to the left, and draw a line over, and I mean it fits pretty perfectly for a bounce right there, as well as these candles here. But anyway, the point is, this is a 12-hour chart, by the way. Looking at the one-day chart, the thing that makes me bearish always is when my indicator flips bearish, and we've had a nice big move up, and now this is flipped to a sell signal, which is bearish. We had a bounce. Okay, so after this bearish close, we went sideways for a few days. We bounced and got rejected at 48K, right? And then we have had this kind of impulsive move down. Is it done? Is the question. Or, I mean, are we just going to do another one of these, right? Another one of these crab-like action where everybody's like, oh, any day now it's going to break down and go to 20K. People start talking even lower targets. And so a lot of people will get bearish here if we repeat, okay, the same thing. So if you look at, though, what we did here, right, this whole run up here, and I'll take my indicator off just because it has a lot of messy stuff on there, but if we go from the low, where's the low? I think that was it right there. So if we go from the low here, we made March last year at $3,065. And then I just want to give you guys an example what I'm thinking here, because you can see once again, we bounced exactly between the 0.5 and 0.618 level. And then what happened was we bounced and then we did this price action, right? And we did actually come a little bit lower. So to me, this has some similarities from, we made this massive move up. We are retracing it. We bounced. Now we're going to retrace it, do the crab walk again. Everybody's going to be very bearish, which is good. We need bears to be shorting the market on derivatives, and also to be selling to the whales, because those people sitting in USDT, there's a lot of people sitting in stable coins. A lot of people have already sold. They've been out of the market since here. They've been out of the market since here. A lot of people, usually newer traders, will look at this here and they'll sell, okay? Or we'll start coming down back close to this level and they'll think, oh, it's going to give way. We're going to go back down to 30K. I've seen people saying all kinds of stuff, but to me, I always like to find some sort of confluence with fib levels, supports, and also thinking about fundamentals, like what could the narrative be that, right now there's regulatory concerns. China has just once again said it's going to, make crypto transactions more illegal. And it's kind of interesting that that coincides with the Evergrande scenario, because what are Chinese investors worried about? They want to protect their capital. They're worried, oh, the government's going to bail out this giant conglomerate, and they're going to try to mitigate the negative effects that that would have through quantitative easing or stimulus. I don't know how China does it exactly, to be honest, but I assume that that's why China's saying, maybe they see that people are, buying Bitcoin or buying it as a hedge or whatever, and so they don't want that. They want people to just sit in the yuan, the dollar, right? Same as the U.S. The U.S., I think the big banks and everyone, they see DeFi and what DeFi is doing, and the amount of innovation, and they are kind of like, well, I think eventually the big banks are just going to have to embrace it. And I think they're going to find the solution perhaps it's going to be involving Quant Network. That's my hope, is that Quant Network, Alliance Block, Constellation, they're going to offer the DeFi solutions to the conglomerates, big banks, central banks, to offer competing products that are regulated, more secure than all these decentralized, unregulated DeFi products. And maybe the yields aren't quite as good, but that will really attract institutional money to DeFi if they can, yield farm and do all these different activities. So I think that, one way or another, these innovations in blockchain and are going to have to be embraced. So anyway, getting off topic here, back to the technicals. I would say this low, if this low here, so let's say one scenario I'm looking at for Bitcoin is that, we kind of bounce and then do like this and like this, and like this, and then, we begin a leg up and, retest the all-time high and then retrace, and then we eventually do make a new all-time high. We could hit 83K, 120K, 130K. This could happen this year. It's possible it happens this year if there's there has to be some sort of catalyst for it. And a lot of people would say, if an ETF does get approved, I watched Elio Trades the other day, and he talked about October and ETF, and I thought, well, that would be definitely the catalyst that would give us a bullish Bitcoin through the end of the year. And I also watch Bob Lucas 4-year cycle videos. I think those are interesting, and there's a lot of confluence between his cycle analysis. He says, there should have been a low around whenever I watch his videos and he says there's going to be a low around a certain date, I always put it in my phone. And I think he said the 19th of September. So, if we go to the 19th of September, there's the 21st. Okay. So there's September 19th. So, pretty close within a day. So, the fact that he thinks a low's been put in, and a lot of the Elliott Wave guys are saying, Ethereum's done retracing, it's going to head higher, makes me think this low is in here. And if anything, we're just going to do some sort of action, like it's just going to be the action like we saw here. So we're going to do that action here, get everybody super bearish, and then we're going to, well, I'm sure it won't go like that, but you get the idea. We'll go up from there. So that's a possibility for Bitcoin that I see. And so what does it matter to any of you guys? You probably don't own any Bitcoin. You own altcoins, right? What are the altcoins going to do? I'm following, of course, most closely the altcoins I own. I own QNT. So next, that's my biggest holding, right up there with VXV, because I was able to get in VXV early this year when it had bottomed out, and I had some money that I wanted to invest. and I consolidated a bunch of my smaller positions, and I just bought a bunch of vector space. I thought it was a good risk reward at the price it was at, so I didn't put new capital into QNT because my entry was already so good. I was in before it was on KuCoin, so it was under $30. But anyway, lucky me, I found it early on and recognized it was one of the better cryptos in existence. And I got to give credit every chance I get to CryptoSec, who wrote his Medium articles about the tokenomics. That's really what made me believe in Quant Network, and as well as many others who have written good articles about Quant Network. So anyway, the RSI here did bounce, right, which is good from this area. If we lose this level at 44 on the daily, okay, I would be a little bit concerned, although as you can see, we've bounced pretty strongly below it each time. So we had a nice bounce here. And you can see as we speak, we're kind of pushing down into this 300 level. I think if anything, it looks like we came down and retested the 280 level already, actually yesterday. So I think 285 should hopefully hold, okay? And you can see I drew a new Elliott wave, looking at this from a different perspective. So if this was the beginning of the first move, you can kind of see within this wave one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Potentially, it looks a little off there, but so let's just say this is wave one, wave two. This massive move up here is the third wave's complete, and now we're in the wave 4 correction. So let's say that's true. A wave 2 starting from here or from here, depending on where we think the beginning of wave 2 is. That's how Elliott wave works, is that you look for the beginning of the impulse and you use the fib levels from the beginning of the impulse. So let's say this is the beginning of wave 2, this is the end of wave 3, okay? The 382 around 287 should hopefully hold us. Okay, we shouldn't. A wave 3 typically doesn't retrace. It's such a massive move, right? So it doesn't retrace as deeply as like a wave 1 does. Look, wave 1. Look at this deep retracement, like perfectly to the point 618, right? You can see it, and that's how I also come to decide. Yes, that's a completed wave 1. Right, we actually went through the 618. We had this capitulation sell-off here, but at the end of the day, $50 was a great entry. So that's our completed wave 1. And assuming we don't go much lower, sure, we can go to 250. Sure, we could go to 200. But I don't think that's going to happen here. I think more likely, my hope is that what we're going to do is, and either way this plays out, it's actually going to be bullish, I think, for QNT. So let's say that I'm wrong about this being the top of the third wave, okay? And let's say this was the top of the fifth wave. But so another way we could look at it, so within this third wave we had, so this would be the obvious wave 3. So a lot of times you just try to find the wave 3. What's the biggest, most parabolic move up? That's the wave 3. This was the wave 4, ending down here at 300. And then we went to the fifth wave, ended at 431. Okay, so that completed our third wave, the biggest move up we've had thus far, right? That was this is where everybody's really getting excited, like, oh shit, we're definitely going to see 1,000. And I was excited too. I thought this was the end of the fifth wave. This was this here was the correction complete. I thought we start going up here. I thought we were going to go to $1,000. I was just like, I just was so bullish, and watching my portfolio go up so much. It's easy to get euphoric. That's what the markets do to you. So now we have a little cool off period, which is good. We can kind of sit back and go, okay, I can look at the technicals, and that's why I like technicals so much, is because it removes those emotions. So I would say either way here, right? I definitely don't want to sell here and watch it pull off a fifth wave move to $680. We certainly could hit, one of these levels even. We could even extend up to $1,000 on this next impulsive move up, right? Assuming we get a wave 5 and this is the bottom around 250. We could wick down a little bit lower even and be just fine. I think, if we start going a little bit lower than this, that and then bounce, that is just the market makers screwing with our heads and making us sell into this, and then boom, we're going to bounce. So it's a stop hunt. A lot of people would enter a position here perhaps and get stopped out if we went a little bit lower. Okay, so that's one scenario. So let's say we complete our fifth wave, and then, what if we do that while Bitcoin's still just doing its crab walk? Okay, that's one scenario. And let's say we do that within the next month, right? Let's say October, QNT just takes off. We have some bullish catalysts, which is very possible. And let's say we hit 680 or even 1,000, and then we have a total completion of a macro 5-wave move, right? And so that occurs, and then we have a big retracement, I think, which would take us down to potentially back down to retest this level finally. Okay, and I know that sounds insane, but this is what I'm planning for, and this is the way I think I'm going to play it at this point. I could change my mind. I might change my bias. So don't hold me to this. Don't try to trade this way. Don't think, oh, I'll sell at this and then I'll buy back in lower, because it might not happen. We could just keep going up. We could go straight up to 2,500 and then never come back down to this level. But it's possible we hit here and then we go, okay, that's a completed 5-wave move. So let's say it does stop right here, right? So that's a wave 1. We have a 5-wave move completed. And is this wave 1? I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look at, looking at the Bittrex chart, unfortunately, is crap. So there could have been a wave 1 completed. This could be our wave 3, right? So it's possible that we pull back to 400. Let's say we go up to 650, and you think, well, what if we come down here? We might bounce right here. And look, the previous all-time high level, confluence, we look for confluence, right? A previous all-time high for a bounce, and it lines up perfectly. If we do stop right where I put the 5-wave ending here, which is just the 618 from the top of this move down here, right? That's how I do it. I think different people do it other ways, but that's worked for me so far, so I just keep it simple. So then there's confluence for this. Let's say this is the 3rd wave. We've already completed a 1st wave, but that's history. We can't even see it on this chart. So this is wave 3 has completed, and so wave 3 completed, we would then retrace to 433. Okay, so let's say we go here, and then we correct, bounce at 433. Then we would have the potential for the final move to the upside. Okay, and once again, a simple way to get a target, we could look for something, midpoint between here, or we could say, no, that's FUD, it's going to 1,700. So all these different ways, and you saw what happened with Solana. I mean, it just pumped so insanely hard, right? So I'm not counting out a scenario where QNT makes a move and just, just completely blows past all the fib extensions and just goes absolutely parabolic. And there's just so much big money wanting to own a piece of QNT. I don't think we've seen that yet. And also retail. I mean, once retail goes full on insane mode. Everybody's borrowing the maximum they can. They're taking out loans from the government for their businesses, saying, yeah, my business is not doing good. Loan me a whole bunch of money at a really low interest rate, which is really easy to do. I know I have a business, but I just don't be tempted to do this, especially if you're new and you're like, the time to do something like that, if you can manage the debt correctly, okay, that's just a form of leverage, taking out a loan at a fixed interest rate and then investing with it. That's just a form of leverage. Look at DeFi. In DeFi, we can put up our assets for collateral. We can borrow against it. That's a form of leverage. You have to be really careful anytime you're using any form of leverage. But if you have a good job, you can afford to manage the debt. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Definitely never use a credit card, but a fixed loan like people can get so easily. I could see people taking out massive six-figure loans and FOMOing in at $1,000 to get 100 QNT, which to me, I'm done investing new money since a long time ago. And I don't really think anybody should be investing new money unless you're looking at a short-term trade to try to double or 3x or 5x your money in the next 3 to 6 months. You're making a bet on that we're going to go much higher, or you're investing longer term. And if you're investing longer term, you should just use your monthly cash flow to buy. Not financial advice. I'm just giving some basic reasonable advice. It's just a good rule of thumb not to become over leveraged. So anyway, assuming this RSI level is going to hold and we're going to go higher from where we're at, we complete our fifth wave. Maybe we bounce from here and then we complete our final move up, which nobody's going to know, guys, where the top is. The point is just to catch the bulk of this final move, right? The final move, it's going to be the hardest to get out in time, but typically, people look for some sort of blow off top. And, if you don't understand what that is, it's just, a good example is, we go vertical, small retrace, vertical again, and then boom, we have some bigger sell volume come in. So you'll usually volume's a good indicator of, where's the top, right? Or are we close to a top? Look at this volume candle. That was a top locally. Then we came back down and our final top was here, right? And then you could say, well, look at this volume candle here on the daily we had 5 days ago. That was the bottom. We put in a bottom right here. We bounced. So looking at volume to me is, it's second only to price action. So you look at the price, you look at volume, you can figure a lot out. RSI, I use my indicator, which by the way, on the 1 day time frame, it flipped bearish one day, but one day before, actually the day we put in this low here, this candle closed bearish. Okay, so this means until we flip back to a buy signal, and we would need to move back up above this and start closing some candles really above 330. To me, 330 is the key level. We need to have daily candles closing above 330 and get our RSI back above a healthy level. Let's get back above 56, 57. Then we're going to see continuation. We're going to see this flip back to a buy signal. But until then, until proven otherwise, we are in a bearish downtrend. And so, we did put in a higher low here. So that's good. So this was a lower low. Now this is a higher low. So we made a higher low, which is good. And we'll see, we made a higher high. I think this is going to be, a higher low. Excuse me, a lower high. We'll see, okay? But this indicator just helps me a lot. It's just kind of like, okay, are we making higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high? There's a lower low, be a little cautious, but we're above our moving averages. See, I use a lot of different stuff. I use moving averages. I use these more on lower time frames for intraday trading, which I do just a little bit of, but mostly I use the 1 day time frame to kind of have a good idea what's going on in the market. So 3 day time frame. Okay, I'll show you another thing here. 3 day time frame, we got our buy signal down here at the close, $90. And we are still bullish on the 3 day candlestick. So we also, on this 3 day candle here, we printed a hidden bullish divergence, and we've bounced, okay, that which is a good sign, but now we see we're moving back down. Once again, 318 to 330. Once we close above that consistently on a daily or higher time frame, I would expect continuation. Okay, just from a structural standpoint, and the indicator should flip bullish again on the daily. So we're pretty much lower time frames. We are looking pretty bearish. You know, we have these hidden bearish divergence, which is not a big deal on a 1 hour time frame. You know, I mean, I take these with a grain of salt. You know, we did print this regular bullish, we bounced, but you see we go right back down and make a lower low. So we could bounce here and still start another bullish uptrend. We'll see. I think that it's the weekend right now. I'm making this video. You know, we'll see. I don't, you know, they always say, a lot of the traders say don't trust the weekend price action. 4 hour time frame, once again, you know, we put in this lower low here, but regular bullish divergence on the low here. So on a lot of different time frames, I'm seeing bullish divergence when we put in this low here. So that gives me a little bit of hope that we're going to have an opportunity if you want to sell your position. I mean, I have very little doubt in my mind that, you know, this isn't the top for this cycle. I know there's people out there who believe that. They believe we're going much lower, but I maintain my bullish bias, even though pretty much on the daily, on pretty much everything, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, okay, you know how bullish Solana has been? Let's see here. Oh boy, is my internet slow? Well, anyway, Solana just printed a 1 day sell signal. So Luna, as bullish as Luna is, we've got major catalysts coming up. This could have been the bottom here, but we had the 1 day sell, and you know, we did put in a higher low here, barely. So we'll see if we can put in a higher high. I think, you know, potentially it goes to 52 and then corrects again. Luna is crazy to try and trade. I thought, you know, I bought at like $10 when it was coming down. I had bought higher, I think at 20 some dollars, you know, I bought in here somewhere at 16, and then I added in my position at 10. So I'm at an average of $12 for Luna. I got into that later on in the cycle, but I do think it's gonna do some pretty good things in this market cycle, and having the, you know, decentralized algorithmic stablecoin UST and Anchor protocol and all these projects coming out, I'm pretty excited about Luna. I hope I'm not wrong, but I think that you know, it could potentially go much higher than a lot of people expect, just because if that UST becomes in such huge demand, that creates more burning of the Luna token and will diminish supply. Plus, so many people are staking for the rewards, including myself. I pretty much just have a small position in it that I'm staking, and I'm going to see what the rewards look like. I may just unstake my coins, you know, if I think the market's coming, if we're near the end of this bull market, I would probably unstake my coins ahead of time, and then you have to wait 30 days, and then I'd swap it to UST and throw that all in Anchor protocol and just kind of see what happens. So anyway, the That's Luna. So I pretty much covered the scenario where I'm going back to QNT here. I covered the scenario where we have a wave 5 and then we correct and then, we make another move up. If this is the fifth wave and we come back, let's say we go from here and back down to 250, I think there's the potential of that happening as well. And then simply I would look for a top at, then we would actually still have a third wave potentially, which who knows, I think either way, right? I can analyze this 100 ways. The Elliott wave theory gets very convoluted and confusing. So it's not the biggest part of my analysis, but at the end of the day, I'm going to look for the top. I'm going to look for something like this, a regular bearish divergence at the top of a candle, and I'm going to think, okay, the market's gone insane. Everybody's euphoric. NFTs are selling for $1 billion, or whatever craziness is going on, and that's where I'm going to just exit my positions. And a lot of people want to, use their QNT for quote unquote staking, or I guess they want to. Maybe there will be a way to, stake their QNT and earn QNT fees. I'm not technical enough. I'm not going to try to run my own gateway or figure all that out. I feel like there might be opportunities with it. And so a lot of people won't sell because they don't want to pay those capital gains. They'll just keep their QNT and borrow against it. And then, if your QNT goes to 1,000, you've got, let's say, 1,000 QNT. Okay, I have $1 million. And so you think, well, $1 million, I can just borrow against that, put it into Anchor Protocol. But then you're using leverage. What if the value of that QNT goes down 80% for whatever reason? What if the network goes down? What if there's a glitch? So there's risks. To me, there's a lot of risks keeping all of these gains within the crypto ecosystem. I think that maybe keeping 20 or 30% in case, in case, you think the top's in and it's really not the top, right? Bob Lucas, in his last video, he said something about potentially having like a top at 250K and then a steep retracement, and then like a year later we have another mega blow off top at like 750,000. I mean, I thought that we'd have this left translated cycle. I don't know about cycles, but I just know the guy seems to know what he's talking about. So if that were to happen, I mean, you could just sit and wait for that to happen, and QNT would probably go to 5K or 10K or something like that. But I honestly think that's 2 to 3 years away. And I don't think a 10K price for QNT is necessarily something that is sustainable, but I could be absolutely wrong. I mean, it could go to 50,000. And we just don't know. We just don't know how the influence of the utility and the demand for the token and all the transactions going through the network, all these different variables, it's very hard to predict where the actual price will end up and how it will be priced by the markets. But at the end of this whole thing, I mean, there is going to be traditional money institutions who are going to push the prices to crazy highs, but they're also going to have the biggest influence on how the tokens are priced, how these digital assets are priced. Just like Bitcoin, Bitcoin's being adopted by the institutions now, but they do control a lot of what happens with the price action. So anyway, hopefully this China FUD blows over and Bitcoin can continue upwards. The price action over the weekend, we try to push down, it gets bought back up. It's just, I mean, it's eerily reminiscent of this range to me. And so if that comes true, I think during the time when this is doing its little crab dance, we will see QNT potentially and some other altcoins run really hard. And I think vector space, I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis on that because I can't put it into my trading view chart. I can't use my indicator, my RSI. I mean, I could do that through CoinMetro, but I already made a video the other day about that. And I just think vector space is going to $50 probably, and potentially could have a 100 or 250 like top of cycle valuation. So if everything goes amazingly, QNT 1,000 to 2,500. Yes, it's a big range. Okay, but I can't predict an exact price. I'm just giving you a range. That's where I think it's going to go. I don't think the top's in. And I think vector space could go anywhere from 50 to 100. And if we see things develop after a few months, I think that, and I definitely think long term it can go to like $1,000, absolutely. And I think QNT can go much higher as well. But for me, my goal is to take out life-changing money, pay my taxes, put what I have left into other investments that generate passive income, and then I'm going to keep some of my vector space, some of my QNT, probably some of my Luna potentially. I'll have to see how things go and see what the regulatory bodies are doing and all those different things. And then I will decide, I'm going to keep this much of each coin, and that'll perhaps generate some additional passive income. And also, if I'm wrong about when the top's in, then I've still got these assets that could go up much further and potentially give me another big payday a year down the road, 2 years down the road. Building wealth, it can take years and years and years. And the thing is with crypto is that a lot of people do actually make life-changing money within a very short period of time trading or just buying an altcoin that has good fundamentals. And imagine if you bought Luna during all this time. This has existed all this time. You could have bought for under $1. And I think it'll go to 200-300 this cycle potentially because of all the things in the pipeline for Columbus 5 and all that. So there's just so many opportunities. Plus all the airdrops. Those airdrops can go up in value. I mean, it's insane. So anyway, guys, good luck. I hope that my analysis gave you guys some insights, some things to think about, right? And once again, this is not something, this is just to give you an idea. If my idea is similar to other ideas that you agree with and similar to what you yourself believe, that's confluence, and that's what I look for. I look for other people in the community that give me ideas, and so I can get confluence, and so that I can hold when it looks like we're just gonna go down, and where are we gonna drop to $150? I saw somebody post we're going to 50 the other day because of the RSI, and I thought, well, okay, yeah, the RSI did peak out here. He was right about the RSI peaking out, but we've already retraced. This is the 1-day time frame and bounced from our support here. So, I'm going to say this is support until proven otherwise. Until we, go below it. And even if we do go below it, as I noted earlier, we're not going to go that much lower. So I could definitely see Bitcoin dip down. Everybody thinks we're going much lower, and then we bounce. QNT goes down again, maybe retests, maybe it comes down and touches even here at 220 or 240, and then it bounces. So the idea is that you really have to look at these indicators and look where we're at and say, well, does this look like we're at the bottom? We've retraced enough. The fibs are telling us we've retraced enough. We're at support. There's candlesticks to give us support, and the RSI is at support. So, and those things help you not sell the bottom, right? And on the flip side of things, you have to keep an eye on this. I usually put some alerts. Okay, Bitcoin's. I'll tell you where the 3-week time frame for Bitcoin. If you look here, oh, this is the wrong chart. Well, anyway, I'm having trouble pulling it up right now, but you can put alerts on different charts. Like the Coinbase chart has a lot more history, and you could see where the RSI topped out last cycle, and on a 3-week time frame, and we have not breached that level yet. We came close to it, but we did not breach it. So I think last cycle, I don't remember what the level was, but anyway, uh, I'll go over that in another video if I get a chance. This one's already getting pretty long. So anyway, guys, take care. Be well.